Okay, this video is about the distributive property, and it's going to be a little bit about combining like terms. So first, when a number of or variables is written directly in front of a set of parentheses, it must be multiplied by everything inside the parentheses. So 2 is multiplied times 3x minus 7. Now, I like to make a little arrow here so that I know that it's being multiplied by those. And remember, when you see a side by side, the 2 next to the parentheses, this is multiplication. So 2 times 3 is 6, and we have the variable. We have 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Okay? Now if we go down to the next one, this one's a little tricky. If there is no number or variable written directly in front of a set of parentheses, a 1 should be drawn in front. So I'm going to put like a 1 right here. The 1 will be positive or negative according to the sign before it. So this is a negative 1. So again, I'm going to take 1 times 4x, negative 1 times 4x, and negative 1 times 2. So the 5 stays right here. And then we go negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. We bring the x over. And negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Now, these are both the distributive property. Combining like terms is taking the like things and putting them together. So I'm going to take the negative 4x out because that is by itself. There's no other x's. And then I'm going to take 5 minus 2 is 3. So minus 4 plus 3. Okay? And this might be a little, so I'm just going to make sure this is clear. That's a negative 4x. Okay? And then we're going to go to the flip side. And this, we are going to, I'm going to do each column. Let's see if I can get everything on this one. Let's see. How's this? All right, good. Now, what should be distributed? What's distributed is the number before the parentheses. So negative 2. The next one is 5. The next one is 2 because it's in front of the parentheses. The next one, remember, it's a 1. So it's a negative 1. This one is the 4. Again, we have a negative 1. This one has 2 sets of parentheses, so we have a 2, but it's a negative 2. And we have a plus 1. Okay? The next one has 2 parentheses, so this one is a negative 1 and a negative 2. Negative 1, negative 2. Now this one is a negative 3x, and this one is a negative 1. It's trying to trick us again, but we got it. And then if we do the last one, again, it's negative 1, and this one's negative x, or you can put negative 1x. All right? Now we are going to distribute. All right? So when we distribute, we distribute the negative 2 to what's inside the parentheses. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times negative 3 becomes a positive 6. Okay? So I go to the next one. I'm just going to do row by row. So the next one we do is 5. So 5x is 5x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And then I'm just going to add the rest that happens to be in the expression. Then we're going to go to the next one, and it's 3 plus 2 minus 5. So I'm going to do 3 plus 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Okay? Now here we're going to start with a 2 because it's by yourself. But negative 1 times negative x gives you a positive 1x, and negative 1 times 5 gives you a negative 5. All right. Now here we're going to do 4x, 4 and 4 times 1. So 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 1 is 4, and we have a negative 5 at the end. Okay. The next one is 2 minus 1 times x. So that's negative 1x. And negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. Because remember, when you do two negatives together, it becomes a positive. Now the next one, we're going to start with the 3. And then we distribute the 2, the negative 2, and the positive 1. Okay? So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Then we're going to go on to the next one. Plus 1 times 5x is 5x. And 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. Okay? Right, going up to the last few. Negative 1 times x. Negative 1 times x to the second power. 2 times negative 2, because remember the negative, negative 2 times 5, and negative 2 times x. First we do the first set. Negative 1 times x, it's negative 1x. And negative 1 times negative 1x to the squared power, because remember if it's blank, it's a 1. This becomes a positive x squared. Then we go to the next one. Minus 2 times 5 is 10. Minus 2 times minus x is positive 2x. And we have a plus 7 at the end. Okay? Now we're doing negative 3x. And we're doing negative 1. So we have negative 3x times x becomes negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times negative 4 is positive 12x plus 2. Then we're going to go minus 1 times 5, or negative 5 is negative 5. And negative 1 times negative 1x gives us positive x. Okay, I'm going to pause this just for a minute, and I want you to try and do the last one. Okay, let's see how you did. So negative 1 times x2 would be negative x2, or you can put a 1 in front of it if you want, if it helps you keep it clearer. Negative 1 times negative 3x becomes plus 3x, and negative 1 times 2 becomes negative 2. Then negative x times x, so this is negative 1x times 1x, gives you negative x squared. And then you have negative x times negative 4 gives you plus 4x. All right? Now, the next step is to combine like terms. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make in each column here, I'm going to put the x's together, the x squared, the x, or the numbers. Okay? And then it'll make it easier to do your final answer. So now the distributive property here, I'm going to go there. So I don't have any x squares, but I have negative 2x, and I have a positive 6. So the final answer would be negative x plus 6. Now when you get more numbers, this way it gets easier to start separating them out. So there's no x squared, but we have a 5x. We have a plus, and it's important that you put the operation signs. So this would be a plus 2x. This would be a negative 20, a -3. Okay? Let me make sure I did that right. 2x and -3. Yep. Okay, so then I'm going to say 5 and 2 is 7x, and -20, and we add the two negatives together. So 20 plus 3 is -23. See how if you separate them out, it's so much easier. So now if we go to the next one, we have plus 2x, we have 3, and then we have a -10. And you can put a plus in front of the 3. So this would be 2x minus 7, because 10 minus 3. And okay, the next one, we have a positive 1x. We have a -5 plus 2. So you can always write it 1x, or you can just write x, and -5 plus 2 is -3. The next one, we have a 4x, we have a plus 4, and we have a -5. So this would be 4x, and this would be -1. We have -1x, we have 2 plus 9. So we have negative, and you can put 1x, or you can leave it just an x because it means the same thing. Sorry, that went out. Plus 11. All right, I'm going to pause it for a minute. I'm going to see if you can do the last few by yourself, and we'll check in a minute. Thank you. Okay, so let's see how you did. So now we don't have any x squared, so we're going to have a -2x. We have a positive 5x. Then we go to the numbers. We have a positive 3, we have a -2, and we have a -4. So 2, which is a negative, we're going to take away from the 5, so that becomes 3x. So we have 3, basically -6, so this would become 3x minus 3. Okay? The next one we're going to do is -1x. Oh, excuse me, we have an x squared, so let's put that where we want to. We have a positive x squared. We have a -1x, and we have a positive 2x, and we have a -10 plus 7. Okay? So then we're going to have, you can leave this as x squared or 1x squared, whichever one you prefer. We have a -1 plus 2, so that becomes plus, again, it's a 1x, so you can leave it x. And then -10 plus 3 is -3. Okay? The next one, we have a -3x squared. We have a positive 12x and an x. We can make it a 1x if you want, or leave it x, but we know that it's a 1. And then we have 2, positive 2, minus 5. So we have a -3x squared, and we have 12x plus 1x is 13x, and then -5 plus 3 gives us a -3. Okay? And then we break down the last one. We know that we have a -1x, and this is also a -1x. So we have -1x squared, -1x squared, and then we have a 3x positive, and then we have plus 4x, and then we have a -2. See how when you separate them out, it makes it so much easier. So -1 gives us -2x squared. We have 3 and 4, they're both positive, plus 7x minus 2. All right, so enjoy. I hope this helped you understand it a little bit better. One thing I would like to add is I do like to use the distribute when I draw my lines. So if you want, you can put